People, welcome to this episode of CGTN live stream. I am reporter Xinchen here, bringing this live from southwest China's Chengdu city, and look around me. Green grass, greeneries, and flowers, and on the outskirts, a little bit far away, we can see skyscrapers and skyscrapers still in construction. So this is how China's new first-tier city look like today. A lot of parks, a lot of blue sky, a lot of skyscrapers, how they integrate the environment with modern architecture and with busy city life. And within this park, this is a gigantic park in one of the busiest districts here in Chengdu, but we have this museum. It's called the Jiaozi Financial Museum. Let's have a look over there, Jiaozi Financial Museum. So a lot of our viewers might be a little bit curious, what is Jiaozi? So, speaking of the financial system today in the world, a lot of people consider, is US dollars dominated global financial system to a certain extent. But in fact, here in China, Jiaozi is dubbed the world's first known paper bill. If we trace back to the currency and financial system of China, it can go over to over 4,000 years ago. And Jiaozi Financial Museum has all the charms and discoveries about China's first paper bill, and also the first known around the world. And why here in Chengdu? Because Jiaozi was first issued and invented here in Chengdu, southwest China. And we're going to have a tour inside of the museum to learn more about the charms of Jiaozi, the first known paper bill from China, and of course around the world. But I'm not an expert of Jiaozi, and here we have Song Pengfei, the curator of this museum. Hello, and we're going to follow him to have a little bit more peeks into this museum.
Yeah. Welcome to Jiaozi Financial Museum. Our museum was opened 2 months ago, and Jiaozi Financial Museum aims to explore the culture and history of Jiaozi and review its influence and inheritance. Now, this is our first hall.
Okay, so we're actually seeing the first exhibition hall, as Mr. Song Pengfei, the curator of the Jiaozi Financial Museum, said. The museum opened just 2 months ago, May 11th. I believe, May 11th. And it's only been 2 months, so it's a fresh, newly opened museum. And it's also the summer break, 暑假了嘛. So we're actually, because today we're not seeing a lot of people, because today actually is a holiday for the museum, but we asked them to open for us so that we can actually have a little peek. And during the weekends, actually will be a lot of people. I've learned 200 people actually would visit this museum during the weekends. But of course, because of COVID, people have to book a slot, and only 200 slots right now available on the internet. So people have to book the slot and before they can visit this. So this is the first hall.
Yeah.
So right there it says, money made of paper. Yeah, paper bill.
It's about the background of Jiaozi's birth in Chengdu and its evolution.
Okay, so its birth here in southwest China's Chengdu city, and of course its evolution. And here we have this beautiful young lady, and she is also a staff in the museum, and she's going to, I believe she's going to help us to maneuver through this first hall. So let's come inside. So where are we now? Because I also know there are different sections in the first exhibition hall, right?
Yeah. So this exhibition hall is especially for us to explore the history of Jiaozi. And
the history of Jiaozi, the first known paper bill from China.
So this is the well-known image of Jiaozi.
So this is an image, like a copy of Jiaozi.
Yeah.
So Jiaozi looks like that, but that's a statue, right? That's like metal plate.
Yeah. And this is a quote of Jiaozi. It says, the iron coins, which is before Jiaozi, is too heavy to carry. So Shu people, they made the mulberry trim paper into the voucher. And the voucher was written with the equivalent amount of iron coins. So the businessman could just take the voucher on their travel. So it fascinates the trade. And that voucher was named as Jiaozi.
Okay, so what we're seeing right here, the metal plate right there, an image of the known Jiaozi. Basically, it's a voucher, the first paper bill produced from China. It has an equivalent amount of iron coins. Because back many, many years ago, travel with iron coins can be heavy, can be inconvenient, and that's the wisdom of Asian Chinese people. So they kind of print out a voucher on mulberry paper.
Yeah.
And that's the quote explaining that procedure. But also I can see right here, that looks like a stamp, and it says Bei Song, which is the northern Song Dynasty.
Yes.
If I am correct, that's when the mulberry papered Jiaozi first issued or discovered back then.
Definitely, yes.
So that's about over 1,000 years ago. That's definitely over 1,000 years ago. And I also learned, while that, the main theme of this museum is, of course, Jiaozi, but also this is actually a brief history of the evolution of Chinese currency, right?
Yeah. So, in ancient times, the barter system was implemented, and pure shelled livestock, they were first served as medium of exchange, and later it became the modality of currencies.
Yes.
And this is cowries, which is made by seashells.
Yeah, so we are going to have a little brief Finance 101 or Business Evolution 101 here, Econ 101. As we know from a lot of different civilizations, including here in China, at the beginning of social exchanges, people would use commodities to change for meat, for silk, or for other things. And then we found a medium, like seashells, like cowries, and etc. And then here we have the metallic money or spade coins.
Yeah.
That's during the spring and autumn and warring states periods. That's 707 BC. And that's I'm doing my math right here. Almost 3,000 years ago, I think, right?
I'm bad at that.
I think it's 2,700 years ago, because we're 2022 plus 770. Yeah. So here in China, close to 3,000 years ago, there is already metal coins.
And those are the other types of metal coins.
Different
this
shapes.
is a knife-shaped coins, yeah.
Knife-shaped coins, like spade shapes and knife-shaped. But also there are currency and coins made not just iron, right?
This is made from jade, I think.
Okay, this is jade. And what's
Round coins.
yeah, round coins and nose shaped. That's interesting. It's very small and it's and nose shape. And nose shaped coins, also known as ghost face money, as its shape suggests, evolved from shell-shaped bronze coins, simply made tiny and light to carry around. These coins were widely circulated in the state of Chu. Interesting. So these are smaller, easier to carry around. But also, if you are familiar with the Chinese history and during the Qing Dynasty, which is still over 2,000 years ago, that's when the currency and different shapes of coins started to be a little bit more consolidated, and it looks like this. And for many, many years to come, the metal coins became like a round shape, like coins today, but with a hole.
Round is good.
Round is good, yeah. And with a hole inside, because actually the hole is very important. That's how people can actually link all different coins together, and they can, with the ring, and they can take with them, so travel, make it more convenient. And I see a map right over there. So what's this map about?
This is a map of Song Dynasty in the old time, and that part, the darker part is actually Shu, which is Chengdu in the old time.
Okay. Sichuan province. That's the Sichuan province in the old days, which was called Shu back thousands of years ago. And doing a little bit translation here. So the area of this part of the shu was 1/10 of the entire Song Dynasty, with 1/5 of the population, and for its fiscal incomes 1/3, and for taxes 1/4. And they're doing a lot of exchanges, like 25 times. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure if that number is not making a lot of sense to me, 25. It doesn't seem a big number, but it could be very, very important back in the old days, because we're going to learn all that. And all that we're seeing today, we have the metal coins, the iron coins. We're also knowing the importance of the shu area in the old days. And that all leads to why the creation of the paper bill. But speaking of the economy, because currency is a very important part of the economy, why the fast development of the paper bill, it can somewhat facilitate signals like how local economy has been quite strong, right? And
so you may ask why, like Jiaozi.
Was the first found here in
in Chengdu.
Yeah.
That's because Chengdu plan, is in Sichuan province, and Sichuan is known as agriculture, especially Chengdu. So the agriculture lead to the development, the foundation of development of all the kinds of industry.
Okay, so the pictures that we're seeing here actually, they're from Han Dynasty. That's still over 2,000 years ago. It's about harvesting, and there is a liquor store picture. That's a liquor store. Interesting.
That's all kinds of industry.
So we can see like these are the Asian industrialization, like silk weaving, waving. That's the waving machine. Liquor making, ceramics, and salt. Salt is also very important. If I am correct, salt was once also used as a way to exchange for food or for other things, a very important commodity. But all that leads to the strong development, economic development here in this part of the country, in Sichuan, which was called Shu 1,000 years ago. And as I mentioned, like the 25 times of commercial exchanges happening here back in the Northern Song Dynasty, that number doesn't seem very large to our viewers today, because I don't know, even the convenience stores around my house might have like over 100 or 1,000 transactions per day. But right here, it was harder for people to trade in the old days. And this is the tea horse trade, which is a route, basically the Asian silk route. That can actually tell us a little bit of the power of commodity exchange, and traders from this part of the country back in the old days, they can actually sell their goods to like other Asian countries, like Nepal right over there. International trade in Northern Song Dynasty. That's again over 1,000 years ago. That's pretty cool, right? Huge amount of money. In the museum, they have a special display to show how people in the old days, how they actually carried money around. This is what I'm talking. This is not real Asian coins. This is not relics. They are just, they are man-made by the museum staff for decor. So that's the whole, and they are going to have a string. I think that's a hamstring, and they can just put them together, and they can take this with them to travel. And how big is this, actually? That's fine.
This is 65 kilograms.
65 kilograms.
Just for a bolt of silk like this.
Okay, so for this, for the silk, this is silk, and this is how much iron coin is needed to exchange for this silk. Look, this is silk, and this is how much money that we need to take. How much? That's 65 kilograms, right? That's my weight. Just saying. So it's not really convenient to take all these, right? Oh, and also the exchange currency right here. So this is the iron coins. They also have like bronze coins and So that's the bronze coins, 4 points, and that's the iron coins. And the exchange rate is 1 to 10. So 10 iron coins equals to 1 bronze coins. Oh my God, that's a lot of coins. I'm not quite sure if that's a lot of money. I think it's a lot of money, but that's a lot of coins, 65 kilograms for that bag of silk. So that leads to a lot of people to think about a better way to really, take their money with them. And here we have the jiaozi, right, if I'm correct.
Yeah, jiaozi.
So look right over here.
That's our world's first paper money, jiaozi.
That's the image of it. That's not the real paper bill. Because if I'm correct, we don't really have a physical copy of the ancient paper bill any whatsoever, because it's made from mulberry paper. It cannot, it perish away. But that's how it looks. As we have mentioned, as we enter into this hall, we saw on the wall the bronze sculpture is this shape. So what's on the paper bill? I can see a lot of, there are drawings, there are Chinese characters, and there are little coins decorating on the top.
So the upper part is the image of coins.
Okay.
Like the coins before jiaozi, the round with a hole in it. And the lower part is actually the image of people. They make the mulberry paper and how they made the jiaozi. And the part in the middle is actually like where you can use jiaozi.
Okay.
Like that, yeah.
Because the writing there is it's hardly recognizable, but I can see 除四川外 means for outside of Sichuan. I think we should read from the left, I think. But the Chinese characters, that's the descriptions and instructions of where you can use this voucher and how you can use it for what. So voila. That's about 1,000 years of history. We could just condense in 15 minutes of your time. But this is only the first hall of this museum. And there is another hall. But I want to bring Mr. Song back for a little bit more. Speaking of jiaozi, it's China's first paper bill. And of course, so far, it's also known as the world's first paper bill. How does this system or this voucher kind of involved, changed today's financial system? 就是在讲到，其实jiaozi是中国最早的纸币嘛，也是其实世界上现在就是大家知道的最早的这个纸币。它对现在的我们的这个货币的体系也好，我们的纸币的发展有哪些作用呢？
其实，在交子诞生的时候，交子诞生了之后，官交子运行了之后，它的发行有很多的制度。那么现今呢，对于后代的纸币的一个发行的话的制度的话，都有很多都借鉴于此。那么在我们的二展厅的话，也可以看到关于这个一周交子物和这个超纸院方面的一些制度的一些管理制度。那么这些管理制度的话，也很多的话都可以在我们现今的一些制度当中有一些体现。
Okay. So, basically, we've learned about the history and the evolution of paper bill here in China, the jiaozi. But some viewers have already been a little bit curious about, okay, who can issue that voucher? Back in the old days, actually, it started with just people can actually issue their own voucher. But later on, it became, there will be an organization like the central bank today, and there will be the paper-making mill, and they're going to have different jobs, different responsibilities in order to make the voucher legit and to make it more legal and to actually make people happy. It's not a fake voucher. And that's the perks of learning jiaozi or discovering jiaozi, because the system of issuing jiaozi still influence how we print out paper money today. But again, for this museum is in a park, and I'm very curious about why is that. We have a beautiful green and with trees and flowers, but then in the middle of the park, we have a museum about paper money and the oldest paper money. So why is that? 就讲到其实我们是公园嘛，是个城市公园，有这么好的绿化，但在公园当中我们有一个这种讲，交子的一个博物馆，这个是为什么呢？
因为交子的话，相当于大家也知道，现在这个公园的命名也是以交子命名的。
Okay, the park actually is named Jiaozi.
然后在这周围附近的话，都是以金融产业为集聚的一个产业，所以我们的金融博物馆的话，坐落在这个公园里边的话，也是在践行我们的这个公园城市的一个发展理念。
Okay.
嗯。
So Mr. Song just said, first the park is also named the Jiaozi Park here in Sichuan, in Chengdu city of southwest China, Sichuan province, and actually is in the heart of Chengdu's financial city district. And basically, it's also one of the most busiest central business districts. And so it's a symbol of how kind of Chengdu, the city, is trying to build this park city to incorporate environment, beautiful sceneries, with a little bit of history, while it's people, white-collar workers all around these tall buildings near these parks, they're busy with their daily chores or whatnot. And we are entering the second exhibition hall. So what we're seeing here, these like sand table little midget models. So 我们这个看到的是啥呀？
现在我们看到的话是当时的一个场地的一个复原，是一州交子屋和超职员的一个复原。然后为了防止这个徇私舞弊和一些这个不好的状况发生，所以我们将这个当时的这个一州交子屋在印制交子的话是通过一州交子屋来印制，但是超纸的生产的话是通过超纸院的进行生产，将它们进行了一个分离。在这儿的话，我们也是做了一个模型进行复原。
Okay, so what we're seeing here is actually a model of how in the ancient time, back in the northern Song Dynasty, how the paper bill is made. And this part is the Yizhou Jiaozi Authority, which is like the central bank today, is where it issues, print out the money. And here is the paper making mill. Look at that. So this is the part where they are going to produce the paper, but they cannot print out the money. They cannot print out Jiaozi, the voucher, because they are not authorized to do that. And this part, the Yizhou Jiaozi Authority, the central bank, in the old days, the issuer of the voucher, they can actually print out right here. And the reason for this different responsibilities actually in order to curb like corruptions. So which means for this, they can issue the money, but they don't have the resources to get the mulberry paper. But for the paper making mill, they can have the paper, they can produce the paper, but they cannot print out the money. And that's smart. And that's how transparent back in the old days. And what we're seeing here, this is definitely modern.
Yeah, you can design your own Jiaozi.
Okay, I can design your own Jiaozi. Let's do, okay.
And there has pattern.
Okay, let's do. Oh, that's the pattern printing. Yeah. So I think that's the all rims. Okay, I can choose one. Yeah. I need to drag it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there has amount.
Oh, that's the amount.
一贯、
2贯、3贯.
4贯、5贯。
So that's the amount of iron coins. It represents. I need to drag it over here.
There has seal.
The seal.
You can choose one.
Okay.
And then story print.
Oh, that's the little picture.
恭喜发财.
Okay, that's better. Okay, I can change it.
There has stamp.
Okay, use the stamp.
Your name.
Oh, I need to put my name there. Okay, I will just put my family name there. Okay, that's my family name, by the way. It's Xu. If you're curious about learning Chinese, I need to drag it over here. Okay, so I've learned before I started the live stream, even though this is just my own Jiaozi, but it's definitely, it doesn't have any value. But it mimics all the elements that we've just learned in the first exhibition hall. At the top, it has the representation of the iron coins. And over here, it's the instructions of what can be used for with this voucher. And in the old days, it does have two stamps as well. So the first stamp will be the the issuer, the central bank, the Yizhou Jiaozi Authority. And then it also have another stamp, which is a governor in the old times. So it has the two stamps from the old days as well. Oh, and you can scan it so that you can take it, with your mobile phones. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So that's more interactive stuff, I think. That's digital version, and here they have actually real stamps that people can make. Okay, so that's the That's cute. So we have the digital version of it, and then the physical copy of it.
There's also stamps from the 12 months market period. It's 12 different stamps.
12 months.
Yeah, 12 months.
And then how paper?
This one,
April?
April.
Okay. And do you have July?
Here's
Do you have a July? And what month is now? Oh, it's July yet. We're in July.
This is April, actually.
Oh, that's the April.
Here's the
That's the March.
Back days they have DIY.
Yeah, yeah. In the back days, people can do it like made to measure or whatnot, custom made. That's July. And also, I've seen here another beautiful lady has been busy here, and what we're seeing, what's this for?
这是交子的一个传统的一个印刷的一个体验。
Okay, so this is how the Jiaozi was printed in the old days.
对，它现在在使用的话，就是一个多色套印的一个技术。
So basically, this is the mulberry paper, and Jiaozi has different colors. And back in the old days, we need to make sure to print on one paper with two different colors. And actually, it was pretty advanced back in the old days. 就其实多色在那个时候，其实这是一个很复杂的工艺嘛。
对，暗色分版，一色一版，一版一印，多色套印。
Okay, so basically for this, this is the mode. The mode can only take one color, so they are going to use several different molds to actually stamp the color onto the paper. Color painting over 2,000 years ago, over 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It takes quite a bit of time. Of course, it's money. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's move on. We've learned quite a bit of the history of Jiaozi and how the system of issuing Jiaozi and how it impacted this currency. But speaking of how it impacted this currency, we're going to actually talk more about that. Because what we're seeing here, from the first hall and also the first section of the second hall is still about the Jiaozi, the paper bill back in northern Song Dynasty. But there are a lot of other similar, vouchers evolution in the coming dynasties. 就其实我们除了也有别的朝代的这些，这一代也叫交子吗？当时
？No， 每个朝代都有不同的名字，像这个的话就是叫真佑宝券。
Okay, so the name of the paper bill in ancient China during the Jin Dynasty is called 真佑宝券. Okay, so it's a different name. It's not called Jiaozi. Look at that. And also, it's not just about what we are saying that, okay, Jiaozi was our first paper bill, or the first known paper bill in human history, but there are actually a lot of records globally that they can show evidence China basically invented the paper bill in the old days. And that's from the Yuan Dynasty, which is called 智元通行宝钞。就是智元通行宝钞。
元代是这个中国古纸币这个发展的一个极盛时期，他们的朝代的话，多数是在使用纸币的。
So basically, Mr. Song just told me that during the Yuan Dynasty, that's where the development of paper bill, old paper vouchers peaked, and people basically just used vouchers during that times, and the Ming Dynasty, and of course Qing Dynasty. And here we have the first series of renminbi, RMB. And this can be familiar for a lot of modern people. But for me, I never really seen these. I might see some of it because it was still circulating. I think some of it circulating back in when I was a kid. Maybe not. Yeah. So that's the first series of Chinese renminbi. Oh, this is the second series. But that's the people who born in the 1980s. They might be. Oh, I know this. I know 1分, 2分. That's 1 cent and 2 cents. And later on, it became the third series, and the fourth and the fifth is basically what today's China, the currency using today.
现在有很多家长会带孩子来这个博物馆来去看这些纸币，因为现在的话，我们这个数字支付的话特别的方便，所以很多这种儿童的话都没有见到过纸币或者很少使用纸币，所以现在的话，很多家长都很愿意他们带孩子来到这个博物馆来去看一下纸币是怎么演变的，怎么诞生的，现在的纸币长什么样子。
So Mr. Song just shared a really nice observation about, especially here right now is the summer break. A lot of parents would take their kids to visit this museum to see actually the paper bill and to see Jiaozi, the first known paper bill here in China. It's because in today's China, people are using WeChat or Alipay, so they are using their digital wallets. A lot of kids, they've never seen paper bill anymore. And this is, by the way, is a souvenir commemorative banknote. That's for the Beijing Olympics, 2020, Beijing 2020 Winter Olympics. Oh, that's for the 2008 Beijing Summer Olympics. But then also, speaking of, Mr. Song just mentioned about how a lot of kids born in today's China, they've never really see real paper money. And that also actually kind of explains the future of China's development of its currency, like the e-CNY, the e-Chinese yuan, 电子货币, the digital currency is actually in trend. And this right here, this museum also shows a little bit about that, right? The digital currency. So tell us a little bit about digital currency. How did it change from vouchers printed on mulberry paper to today that we don't even need to take our wallets out? 就我们讲到我们的数字货币，其实现在是一个什么的一个发展状况呢？
现在的话，就是我们这个数字货币分为软钱包和硬钱包。在这里的话，这个展厅的话是数字人民币的一个展厅。那么墙上的话都是我们的这个数字人民币的一个白皮书的一个内容。然后在这个展柜里边也可以看到，我们展示了现在数字人民币发展当中的一些硬钱包的一些发展的一些工具。那么这些支付工具的话，未来都会应用在这个我们的未来的生活当中。
So I'm going to translate a little bit. So right here in this section of the exhibition hall is all about the digital currency, the eCNY, the e-Chinese yuan. So basically, they are digital wallets can serve as a carrier of the digital currency, and these are all different shapes of sizes. Like bank cards, of course, credit cards or debit cards can be a medium to kind of keep the digital currency is. But also I can see a lot of other things. That's a phone case and keychains, etc. But for this, this can also used as
拐杖，这是一个拐杖，对，专门为老年人支付做的一个拐杖，它可以就是帮助一些老年人解决一些电子支付的问题。
But how? 怎么使用的？这个是能
对，在这儿的话有一些按钮，然后在另外一侧的话会有一些，它是会有一些固定金额的在里边，然后有很多电子支付的话，老年人可能手机使用并不是很方便，他就可以通过这个拐杖去进行触碰的方式去进行支付。
Okay, so even for the stick, as walking stick is also it can be able to be your digital wallet, especially for older folks. It has like set amounts of different money values. There will be buttons, and you can pay for that individual things. And the gloves, I've learned all the good things about the gloves, especially during the Winter Olympics just happening in Beijing earlier this year. And actually, people can also pay with the gloves. 就是也可以用手套，也是一个支付的手段。
对手套，因为在有些这个极端天气情况下的话，去把手机拿出来也是很不方便的，所以设计了这款这种滑雪手套的支付工具。
So basically, especially during extremely cold weather, you can just pay with your gloves. Similar with the walking stick, there will be set amount like in the gloves, and you can just touch it. 但这个科技其实就是这种无线科技吗？还是？
对，它其实就是 NFC 这种芯片的一种。
So it's just NFC, the chips. You know, a lot of iPhones, Android phones, they have NFC, and these NFCs can be implemented into a lot of other things like smartwatches, gloves, wristbands, and etc. And of course, cute pandas. Chengdu is also famous for its pandas. This basically concludes this museum. We've learned a lot about the history of Jiaozi, the first paper bill from China and also in the world. And before we wrap up, let's show our viewers a little bit of this. So it's like the E version of Jiaozi, but it doesn't really have values here. But look at the coins at the top. They put the symbol of the Chinese digital currency in the middle. That symbol is the symbol for the Chinese eCNY, the Chinese digital currency, the e-Chinese yuan.
它也是可以有支付功能的。
也是这种像 NFC。
对，它是有支付功能的，它是一个定额，对，它可以定额支付，比如说这个里面是可以是200元这种方式去进行，在一些固定的这种机具上可以进行支付。
也是像 NFC 这样子去。
对，碰一碰。
Mr. Song just corrected me. Actually, this is possible for people to pay for things with a set amount of value in it. It's still NFC capable, enabled paper, like modern Jiaozi that we're seeing today. And thank you so much for Mr. Song's time, and of course for Mrs. Gong's time to help us to maneuver through this exhibition hall. It's a big hall, actually. It's a big museum. And this is really about the financial system here in China, that we can trace back history of thousands of years ago. The first paper bill, produced here in China, if you have never known. And actually, this is my first time to know of that. And again, it's not just about the financial museum here. I also mentioned about this infrastructure ambition of the city of Chengdu, how it's kind of incorporated parks with central business districts. And of course, there is a huge hallway area with coffees and etc. So people living nearby or work nearby, they can take their noon break to visit a museum, I guess. It's actually to chill a little bit, to have a coffee, to learn a bit of history and whatnot. And thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with us. And hopefully that we can see in future live streams very soon. But before I go, I just want to show our viewers about the beautiful blue sky out there today. And with that, let's wrap up today's live stream.